everybody, how are you doing? My name is James and welcome to The Multiculturalist. Today we're going to review one of the things that I just unboxed, and I've tried to make this video multiple times at this point, to unfortunately my own detriment. I either encounter audio issues or video issues, but that's enough of me. I got the AD&D 2nd edition SpellJammer box set. Print hardback cover from the DM's Guild. I'm really excited about this, and the thing is that I've already looked through this a couple times, and I know what I like about this. If this was a more formal review, I might do a comparison between this and the 5th edition SpellJammer thing, set that has the individual books as modules that are able to be pulled out, and a book cover that can come out as well. But this is really exciting, and I like this for a couple of reasons. I want to introduce you to the other DM's Guild prints that I had ordered. They are in relation to campaign settings for the Forgotten Realms. One, a history of the Forgotten Realms. This is the Grand History of the Realms, and this one is Elminster's Forgotten Realms. This provides it's basically a history book about what has happened in the realms thus far, throughout all the ages. And this one is more of a cultural guide through the nuances of society. So it has some phrases that you could learn, it has specific groups to know about, and different kinds of relations that nobility and common folk have with each other, as well as species and races, all that kind of thing. They're both really cool books, but there's one thing. They're softback. And the thing about this is that if I could get them in hardback, I would. It's just that this is what they come in. And I think I already have, there's like a little bit of wear and tear already. And it's been about maybe a year, or maybe it's been 2 years. I can't remember when I got them. But that's the thing. When I compared these two, with the hardback book is so much more... Ooh. Just hear that hit. It sounds so good. And one of the things about this is that it can go through wear and tear, and it feels easy to just simply get a hold of and then open without having to worry about bending any of the sides of this. I highly recommend the hardback cover book of this. And so, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's go through this. What is cool about this that you're probably not going to find in the 5th edition book? A lot of work into how a dungeon master can actually get involved with creating the worlds. And what I mean by that, when I say worlds, is actually literal worlds. Not just simply the world of Faerun, or the world of Zahara, or the world of Karator. The actual planet. And planetary systems, not just of the realms, but of Greyhawk and of Kryn, Dragonlance. It's so cool to see this, and it shows a lot of dedication and consideration and time and effort put in for creating a campaign set. And I want to go into it immediately. I can't wait any longer. So, one of the things that you can notice usually about this is that if you look at the lettering on this, it is very soft, so you can know that immediately this is a reprint. It is not an original print, which is fine. I like the originals. I've seen the unboxing of an original set, and what's cool about this is that it includes many of the pieces of the box set that came with the original in the form of pages here. I'll get to that in a moment. And you have a lot of different pages here, your forward. You have your SpellJammers almost immediately out of the gate. 13 pages of basic, campaign terminology, describing the races, the species, and the monsters, and the unique monsters here as well. So the known spheres, and when they're talking about spheres, they're talking about the crystal spheres, which basically are the general, oxygen-giving areas of spheres for each individual world, planet, I believe. And then you have the phlogiston, which is basically the kind of pathways that you can take from one planet to another, and into other worlds, I believe, as well. Not just simply into the spaces that they exist in. So like a wild space system, that is basically a planetary system. That system would be like realm space. That realm space is a type of wild space from my understanding. Now, I remember them mentioning Wild Space in the... Yeah, Wild Space is in here, too. Wild Space is in here, too. I didn't know if it was just a 5th edition thing. In 5th edition, they took out the phlogiston and the crystal spheres. Why? Well, supposedly for simplicity, but there you go. Alright, and then you have the variety of different spelljammers. A dragonfly and damselfly. I don't know why they got rid of the damselfly. Maybe for sensitivity reasons of dividing it based on the idea that there's a male or female part. I'm not exactly sure, but c'est la vie. Here is one of the cool things about this. This is the Death Tyrant, I think. Yeah, for the beholders, and it's really cool. And it's cool. They have 5 variations of this, and I like that. I like the fact that there's variations of these, and there's a lot of text, or at least on 2 very easy, accessible pages to get. You can look through what is present for it. And it's, I think, you know, I used to think that this is a lot more text. I think it's a little bit more than what 5th edition provides, but I'm not completely sure. Tradesman, Gnomish Side Wielder, that's new. Mind Flayer Nautiloid. Neogi Mind Spider, that's always a cool one. Galleon, classic. Squid Ship, that's there too. Dragon Ship, I don't think they have that in 5th edition. Hammer Ship, I think they have that. Elven Man of War, they just call it the Man of War. The Neogi Death Spider, that's another cool version, or at least a different one, if maybe. And then you have, oh, that's so cool. And so then, oh, that's interesting. An Elven Armada. And then you have, like, the Dwarven Citadel. I love that. I love that they're huge spelljammers this way. And then they talk about the Spacefarers, which are the different races. They have Halflings, Goblins, Mind Flayers. And here's where this gets really cool. Where I say, and you can find, oh, also you can find the different kinds of depictions here of the monsters. A Drakon, a Radiant Dragon, which is really cool to see. A Beholder, the Arcane, which seems to be maybe a kind of magic society or something like that. Kindori, Space Whale, I wonder what language that comes from, the Kindori. Krajen, that's an interesting name. Seems very Cthulhian, or rather Lovecraftian. Skaver. Known Spheres, I want to get to this. This is what proves to me that they care about this system, about the campaign set of SpellJammer. You have Kryn Space and then all of its individual planets, but the sun, and then a type of sun that it is, right? Or rather, the type of, the type of sun that it is. It's a fire body, type H. Syrian, type D, fire body, inert, and then it has a description of it. And I'm fairly sure that these, because of this system it being SpellJammer, and now you're in space, there may not have necessarily been any lore for some of these planets before. Now, maybe there's been other lore about the types of planets from doing some kind of astrological or astronomical study within Kryn Space or Realm Space or Gray Space or whatever you go to within the settings of, Dragonlance, Greyhawk, or the Forgotten Realms. But this seems to really take into consideration the idea maybe there's new planets for them to discover, and maybe there's a way to generate planets and whatnot. And that's actually in a different publication, which is really cool. I think it's called Planetology. I got that one too. I was so excited to do that. And then you have Kryn, and then it gives details about Kryn itself. And then Chislev, Zivlin, and then it goes into Gray Space, the world of Greyhawk, Primary Earth, which I'm assuming is where they are as the world. I haven't played in Greyhawk ever, but I'm assuming that's what it is, which is interesting because Oerth sounds like Earth, and from my understanding, Mordenkainen, or Mordenkainen, however you pronounce his name, the wizard is supposed to be a wizard who is either embodied by, I think, Gary Gygax, or he himself is a person who was able to travel to actual Earth, our Earth, and somehow have an adventure in Earth, which is interesting. So, there you go. However, when you go to the Forgotten Realms, the continents are almost exactly like the Earth continents ourselves. So, there's a lot of influence in different areas of our actual world into these figment worlds. Realm Space, and again, Sun, Collier. I've never heard of Collier until looking at this. And lizard men are supposed to be like native space inhabitants, like that have gone across everywhere. which is interesting. This is a really nice done, and I love how much detail and color is put into this printed page. Yeah, it makes me excited to read the rest of this. And it's so cool. Ship information form. You can fill out your own form here in case you wanted to after you make your SpellJammer, which is one of the cool things that I wish had been happening much more often. But again, I don't want to just simply complain about anything. In any case, there's explanations of the gravity rules, the helm, crystal shells, which are basically the crystal spheres, the phlogiston, air quality, how to breathe, what you need to do to make sure that you're upgrading your air quality, how to get into the different pockets of air and then bring back fresh air so that you don't have, deadly air, eventually have deadly air, rules on gravity and then falling and combat, time, temperature. This is a lot of stuff that you can get into just to take into consideration that you're in outer space, but it's a weird combination of medieval fantasy with space travel. Things that don't really go together when you think of it. It's almost like saying, can I have a primeval, a caveman setting put in Star Wars? And you wonder what that's going to look like or how that works, especially if you then include something like space travel or going into outer space. And it's interesting to see what they come up with here. A SpellJammer architecture, item saving throws. It's interesting. It seems as though there's different rules for like the hull crashing, and that's such a cool idea. What happens when one SpellJammer crashes into another, which is such a cool thing to do. Should you do that? Crown of Stars, Gnomish Helms, Forges, Orbis, Pool Helms. There's just so much. There's artificers, furnaces, and this. It's just so interesting. You have gold. I didn't even see this part because I was just skipping through last time. So these are non-magical engines. The fact that you can have gold prices on all these things and then add them to each of your SpellJammers. This wasn't, this is so good. This is what we need. We need ways of then upgrading or at least having something to buy and put onto the spelljamming ships, and that's not there. It's not there in the spelljamming, in the SpellJammer. Bombards, personal weapons and ammunition, improved maneuverability, and then the rules basically for combat, movement, and all this stuff. Love the black and white sketches. Movement in the flow, tactical movement, weapons, and they give the ranges. Ranges is a very important part, and I'll eventually do a comparison, I think, because it's interesting to see where the similarities are and where the lack of content is. Okay, celestial mechanics, blah, blah, blah. And that's actually interesting. Universe building. This is what this needed in 5e. Universe building. Pre-planned universes. DM created universe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Planetary body. What are the orbit rings of each body? What is the number of main planets? Assuming a standard system, what is the primary body? Star, planet, black hole, etc. Type of system. Is it a standard system or a special case? Do some or all of the civilizations in this area have SpellJammer jamming capabilities? What is the distance to the crystal shell of the system? Twice the orbit of the furthest major body. Randomly generated, and oh, this is so cool. They give you a system in which you can do that. System type, roll a D100, right? Nested spheres, fixed system, random movement, primary type. Oh, this is so good, and you don't even need necessary. So you have even some. Oh man, even with the box set, you have some means of creating a kind of general system with planets. This is so inclusive. Why I say this is because planetary, or I think the planetology, as it's called in the DM's Guild, is another document that you can get, and it gives you types of planets that you can have, and all the details that come with it too, including the types of civilizations. And this is just so in depth, or this is just so much more given for a dungeon master to create with it. It's great. In gray space, you have these distances. type G, E, and it gives these alphabet letters to just let you know in terms of planets what type they are. And they have those alphabet letters as well for these the class of the ships as well for Spelljammers, just to let you know which one is better. Like type A, kind of the same way that THACO exists, or rather that descending armor class exists. Number 1 is supposed to be the best. It's not like 20 and 30 and then 40 or something like that. Number 1 is supposed to be the best because, hey, it's top tier. Same thing with this then, like an A quality ship speed or maneuverability. That then means a Class A ship means it has really good maneuverability. Class E, not so good. Same thing, same concept of starting with like the top being the initial number or initial letter of the alphabet. So then going through this. Earth system. This is so cool too. I really appreciate this because this is Earth. This is Earth. Earth system. And then distances between planets. And then comparing an Earth system to these fantasy systems. Comparing them. So that you can see the distances and saying, okay, well, how long would it be between these ones as well? In case you want to do some, I don't know, some kind of weird calculation with either meteoroids that come through space, or if you want to do like examples of how fast light goes through space, or how fast sound, if it was able to, could go through space as well. All that stuff. It's just, it's so cool to have that. Not only systems of different campaign worlds, again, Dragonlance, Greyhawk, and the Forgotten Realms, compared with its own planetary bodies, not only with themselves, but in comparison to the other campaign settings, and then compared to the actual real world settings. This is so much more consideration, and this, I love this because basically these are big style maps. Big style maps for planetary you could say systems. So this is the big version of the map, and when you get to the center circle is supposed to be this. It's supposed to represent, I'm assuming, the darkened area of circle here. And then, for whatever reason, there's the rest of everything else here. And this is, I would imagine, for planets that are in close proximity to one another, or, if you really want to think of it this way, maybe it's a single planet, and then you have either different spelljammers or stations or meteoroids around it, or asteroids around it, so that you could go to. And then when you decide to go further, maybe you go out of it. Maybe this would be a crystal sphere, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's a realm space. Or maybe this is actually already part of the whole... who knows? In any case, this is a smaller version, and this is the bigger version for greater travel, for just local travel. And they give you a blank sheet for the sizes, shapes, and types of planets. They care about these systems. They care about you creating a system for your campaign. They gear this for DMs. And what I love about these is the fact that you have basically a lot of different color. And one of the cool things about this is that you have 2 of these, and these are actual cards that you could have had at one point in the box set, the actual original box set. And this is what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. You could have had these as the original box set, and then you could have given them to player. 1 for you and 1 for the players, or 2 for the players, or just 2 for you, and you could use them as visual aesthetics. And if you flip them over, what's on the other side? All the statistics that you could want. You have for boarding reasons, or just simply moving around reasons, of going up to another level or going down a level. A grid. You have a grid just so that you can keep track of it in combat for whatever reason. Because maybe you're in combat and it really depends if you have some kind of special harpoon that's you could put in a ballista to go to then attack a Neogi Mind Spider with, right? And then they have all the different quarter names here. Sometimes this design seems a little bit all over the place, but in general, it really does work. And that's what I like about these things. Then you have the squid ship, and the coloring for the print is actually really good. I'm really happy with it. I'm never gonna tear these out because I want them in there. But I have the PDF version, the combo PDF version of these, and it's just the shading and everything on it. It's just so good. It's so well deserved. But then again, I also paid well for this printing of it, so I'm glad that it came out really nice. And I'm just, it's so surprising to me that this is an AD&D book, and I'm enjoying this as much as it is just going through the colors. And this is the cooler part too! Just the same way that you have these as cards, you then have these. See, this is the Dwarven, I forget what this is, the Dwarven Citadel, right here. Bang, bang, boom. Dwarven Citadel, yeah? And then you have the Mosquito, I forget what the rest of these are, maybe they're Sentinels, I forget. But in any case, they're SpellJammers. These are SpellJammers. Now, what would have been cool would have been to see these prints, like this, actually be on top of these kinds of cards. However, I get it. You're trying to get something out in the middle of something immediately. It would have been cooler if that actual design was here for these, but these work well. One, you can immediately fold them up into paper designs and put them in a base. And the other cool thing is, of course, bop-a-da-bop. Look at this. They have the names of them on them. They got the names. We got the names. They got different colors. And they're all different sizes, too. Assumingly, relative to what these things would actually kind of take up in terms of space on one of these grids. On one of these tile grids. I can't tell you how much consideration there is for this. Here is the SpellJammer. The Legend of SpellJammer, which is another product that you can also purchase and then get the whole lore on this and spelljamming in general. This is the dragon ship. What is it? These are the Death Tyrants and the Nyogi Mind Spider, Death Tyrant. Asteroids, a galleon, 4 different galleons. They all look the same. That's fine. A damselfly and a dragonfly, I think, or maybe it's just dragonflies or damselflies. I'm not sure. And then again, you got the what was it? The Nautilus. Right there. And the squid ship. And for these, you then have different sizes and types of indicators for one thing. So that you could take these and then attach them, I think, to either the SpellJammers, which I don't think is the case, to the planets. But these could be for the SpellJammers. Look at this. You remember that previous map that we saw where it was a huge planetary map and then a small planetary map? Now we have it in color right here. Realm space, and guess what's over here? That's Kryn space, and right down here, because this was originally a fold-out map, is gray space. Oh no, sorry. Kryn space is here, gray space is here. And it's all colored just so that you can keep track of where the planetary orbit is in case the planets are moving and you want to change where the planets move depending on how long the players take. That's such a cool idea. That would be so cool. And you can have all different rules for that too. And here's the smaller version as well. And they make it light because the dark background is going to be space. And guess what they have in this corner? Planetary display map. That same thing that we saw just in black and white before. Size, shape, and type for your planets, for your design of whatever the system is, or if it's an already existing system. And then they have a huge map for the legendary SpellJammer, which you get to know more about and is supposed to be huge. And then you have the outline of the big manta ray SpellJammer. And it's in this kind of a picture where you get to see the, how can I say, the PDF picture for the title cover page of SpellJammer. Not the whole series, but basically the legend of SpellJammer. It has this area highlighted. And then it goes on, and then you have a hex grid of space. I think there's a hex grid of space also in 5th edition, but I have to check it. They do have a Rock of Brawl map. One thing that 5th edition does well, better than the 2nd edition, is that it has more detail in terms of color for the city, for the Rock of Brawl, and it also has the underside, being able to look under the underside as well. I think this only has one side, it's the top side. It's expansive, but it's just the top side. But I think this right here actually is unique because I don't know if the Rock of Brawl or, is given a side view on 5th edition. So that's another thing. Bottom, and then it gives the areas, Rock of Brawl. And I think that's about it. Area down here, and that's it. Okay. And again, I can't tell you... Oh, God. It feels so good to just hold this as a pure product, a hardback product. Knowing that I'm not going to mess up any of the pages, I highly recommend, if you're going to get this, hands down, get the hardback version of SpellJammer. This is something you're going to want to buy to just flush out your SpellJammer campaign setting. Yeah, the 5th edition, unfortunately, really doesn't do it, and I feel like I want to do a comparison. I'll probably get, like, the PDFs of both up and then do a comparison that way so people can also clearly read what's on there, not necessarily have to read it on here, although, thanks to my lovely webcam that I have up here, you can see it in good detail. I would rather people were able to read it on a PDF, so I might get that in a different corner somewhere in the main screen that everyone can else see. So I might have the screens that way. In any case, we'll see. So, everybody, I hope that you've had a good time, and hey, thank you for joining me, MC Crowd. I'll see you next time, fellow multiculturalists. Bye-bye. Oh, wait. I need people to follow. Please, for the love of God, I'm making content online, and please help me out here. You want to give me some money? You can give me money on either the MC James on Patreon, Cashapp, or PayPal, or you can hire me for as being a voice actor for Chinese or Japanese voice acting or English on Fiverr, or on Startplaying Games. You can ask me if you would like for a campaign setting or to be hired. Really, that's what I could do. Okay? Just being on the level with you. That's something I could do. And then, what else was I going to say? Oh, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for this YouTube video. I cannot tell you how important it is to get people engaged with that. And I'm probably even going to put this, maybe just change the order of some of this stuff so you do it. Please, it helps me out a lot, and I hope that you enjoyed at least me going over this. I'll do a comparison of SpellJammer 2nd edition and 5th edition together, side by side in the PDFs, and I'll hopefully also be able to do that with Chicago Vampire, a much better put together edition of that. And I'm also going to do an Alien RPG unboxing. So if you like any of this content, please like this, subscribe, hit the bell for all the notifications so you can be notified, and comment below so I can know what you're interested in, and follow me on the social medias. I got my Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and I think whatever else is on my LinkedIn. Alright, now, thank you very much, MC Crowd, for everything, and I'll see you next time, multiculturalists. Bye-bye.